I have a big announcement to make, something which will change my running journey, something which I could never physically do before now, because as I've turned 17, this means that I can now run a half marathon. Yes, that is right guys, I am honoured to say that I have officially signed up for my first ever half marathon, and with the channel that we have going on at the moment, I want to use this as an opportunity to show you my journey from where I am currently to the day where I run my first ever half marathon. With just over 2 months to the date which is scheduled for my half marathon, over the next few months I want to show you my training which I do, getting me prepared for my first ever half marathon. So if you're like me and you've just signed up for your first ever half marathon, watch through this series, because over the next few weeks I'll be showing you everything I do which will prepare me to give me the best possible time at my first half marathon. So in the next few weeks I will show you all the training which I do coming up to my half marathon. So hopefully from this series you can learn from my training some tips, some tricks, and hopefully you can see what to do, what went well, and also what didn't go well and what you shouldn't do. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into the video. So for some context, for me, going into my first ever half marathon, this is quite a big step up for me, because basically the longest distance which I have ever raced before is just 10 kilometers. So therefore, doing my first ever half marathon, I am doubling the distance of the furthest which I have ever raced. So of course this can feel quite daunting. So I feel going into your half marathon training, going into the training block, I think it is a good idea to go for an approach where you have an end goal of what time you want to accomplish. So for me, going into this training block, I want to have a specific time goal which I want to accomplish in mind whilst doing this training. And to be able to do this, I'm going to set out something which is known as a SMART goal. So SMART goals, it is an acronym with each letter having its own meaning. S meaning specific, M meaning measurable, A meaning attainable, R meaning relevant, and T being time-based. So this will mean we will set out a specific time goal for what we want to accomplish in the half marathon, which we believe it will challenge us, it will make us train hard, but at the same time it isn't impossible to achieve. So by setting out an achievable time goal, this will keep us motivated throughout the training block, because we will be able to see we're making progress in the positive direction and we're not feeling overwhelmed by trying to achieve a goal which we feel is impossible. So to be able to identify a time goal which I want to try and achieve, I've got up a race pace calculator, and what this site does is you put in your 10k PB, which for me I did quite recently, only a week ago, so this is pretty relevant and therefore pretty useful for me. And I put in my PB, 36 minutes 29 seconds, and you press on calculate paces, and then it comes up with a load of stats, and then it shows you the equivalent race performances which you should be able to achieve based on your PB. You go down to the half marathon time here, and it comes up with a time of 1 hour 20 and 29 seconds, which is the equivalent to a 3:48 per kilometer, which therefore based on this I'm going to go for a time goal of trying to go just below sub 120, because that should push me, but at the same time it's not impossible. So as well as the time goal, I think going along a similar pattern, you should identify where you currently are with your training and how much mileage you are running per week. For me, in the half marathon training, I feel mileage, that is going to be a key aspect of my training, and I feel having consistent mileage is something extremely important for me. I feel no matter your running ability, I feel to be able to flourish in the half marathon, you have to be able to hit a certain mileage goal each week. I feel for me, being able to hit my mileage goal which I set out will be the difference between if I will be successful or not in the half marathon come September. Currently, I'm running between 60 to 70 kilometers per week, and I think in the next 8 weeks, I feel by the time we hit the top amount of mileage, I want to be hitting at least over 80 kilometers. I think one final thing which you should do before enhancing yourself in the training is actually looking at the half marathon course itself. So for me, I'll be running the Ipswich Half Marathon on the 21st of September 2025, and right here I found a map of the course. I think most half marathon sites will have a course attached, and basically one thing which I have learnt from looking at this is that the Ipswich Half Marathon, well, it is going to be quite a hilly course, and therefore that will mean I will tailor my training to make sure I have a sufficient amount of hill training in my training block, because otherwise I will most certainly struggle when it gets to the hills. So with all the preparation complete, let's go on to day 1 of the training block.
A few moments later.
Alright, so today is a Monday, and one thing you will learn from this series is I like to have a structured plan to my training. And Monday, that is a track session every single week at Northgate, held by my running club, Ipswich Jaffa. Now usually I would go flat out, but today I didn't. I went for more of a tempo effort for reasons I will say in a second. But on the screen now is the Strava and the session details. So we had quite a good session for building up that aerobic endurance and having a little bit of speed at the same time. So this is the type of session which I'd want for my half marathon training. Now the reason that I did this session at a tempo effort is because on Wednesday, in 2 days time, I have the Snetterton 10k, which will be my last official race before the half marathon. So yeah, because I have the Snetterton 10k in 2 days time, today I thought I'd save a bit of energy in the legs and also use this as a bit of a shakeout run at the track session tonight. Now overall, I did feel pretty good actually, at a tempo effort. I may have got a bit carried away on the 200s and I went a little bit too fast, but overall, I kept quite well with some consistent splits. So overall, from tonight's session, I am quite happy. So, as mentioned yesterday, tomorrow will be the Snetterton 10k. So, with that being said, today is going to be a rest day with no running. So, instead of running, today I'm going to do some stretching and some strength and conditioning to get the legs as loose as possible for tomorrow's race. Alright guys, so it is Wednesday, which means today is the Snetterton 10k, which is my last official race before the half marathon. I will have a main video out for the Snetterton 10k, but for you guys to know, in this training block, this 10k, it is quite a flat course, it's quite a fast course, so hopefully today, if the weather conditions are correct and it's not too windy, then hopefully today we will go for PB. So yeah, pretty much anything that is a PB, I'll be happy with. So let's go to Snetterton and see if I can get the 10k PB. Alright guys, so we are in the car on our way back from Snetterton now. The official time which I got was 36:04, which is a 25-second PB. So naturally, I'm very happy with that. Today, I actually paced myself pretty well with some pretty consistent splits. The splits are on the screen now. And yeah, I actually for once overtook a few people in that second lap. So yeah, I'm very happy with how I paced that race. And I'm very happy with another 10k PB. Alright guys, so today is Thursday, meaning that yesterday was the Snetterton 10k, and I'm still buzzing with getting that 10k PB, but now the focus is on recovery, and after this 10k I am feeling quite fatigued, so for the rest of the week it's about recovery, getting the body ready to go again and resume the half marathon training for next week. So yeah, the priority today is on recovery, so it will be just an easy run. Thursdays anyway normally would be an easy run on the schedule, but I might slightly alter the mileage and drop the mileage slightly just to allow the body more time to recover. One thing which I got from the Snetterton 10k yesterday were these Dextro energy gummies, something I've never tried before, so hopefully these will work and give me energy. So in running, racing is one thing, but the recovery is just as important, and preventing injuries is key to make sure you can go again in the future and have the legs ready for future races. Alright guys, so I am back from the run now, and we did end up doing 10k. The Strava and the splits are now on the screen. Now, taking in, we did a 10k PB yesterday. I'm pretty happy with how my legs felt. Generally, they weren't too bad. A bit fatigued, but I mean, that is to be expected. When I go on easy runs, I don't tend to look at my splits, so I let them go all over the place because it's an easy pace, so you don't really need to try and keep consistent splits. But overall, for the average pace, I am pretty happy with that. Taken in, we had a 10k PB yesterday. So for me, recently on the training schedule, the 10k easy run has been on a Thursday, so I've pretty much been sticking to the plan. But yeah, overall, felt pretty decent tonight, and the legs generally felt pretty decent. I did also do some strides at the end, and I did add another cheeky little Strava crown to the collection. So yeah, time to relax, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Alright guys, so today is a Friday, and we did have a rest day on Tuesday because of the Snetterton 10k, and usually we do only have one rest day per week, but because we did have the 10k midweek, today we're going to do another rest day, having 2 rest days from running. But this is only a rest day from running because today I will be doing some light exercise through some weightlifting. So for me, weightlifting is extremely important, and I like to have at least one weight session every single week. In this clip, I'm using some 4kg dumbbells which I got for my birthday quite recently. Now, this is a good weight for me because it doesn't mean it is too heavy and I end up doing a 1 rep max, but at the same time, it's not too light and I'm definitely putting a bit of effort into moving those weights up. Doing weight training is extremely important for runners for many reasons, such as preventing injuries but also improving running form. For me, I am a very light person, coming on the lighter side, and also my running form naturally isn't the best. So therefore it's crucial I improve my running form by doing weight training. One problem which I have as a runner is that naturally I can tire out and my running form can start to become very shaky near the end of races. So therefore this weight training aims to improve my muscular endurance, and therefore it should help my running form stay as strong as possible during a race. Especially when we're up in the distance to a half marathon, it's crucial that my running form can stay as strong as possible during the race. This therefore means that weight training will take a very important role in my half marathon training. I never used to do weight training and I only started recently, so hopefully I will see the improvements in the near future. Consistency is key, so I'll make sure to do at least one weight training session every single week. So today is Saturday, and one thing that will never change is that on Saturday we will be doing a park run. Now this morning I went to the Christchurch park run, and this was the first time where I ever went for what would have been quite a hard effort. And well, this course, one thing to tell you now, it is extremely hilly with 3 hills in total. And here is the time I got, 19:17 on the watch, and the official time is on the screen as well. As you can see from the splits, I probably went off slightly too fast, and I definitely did pay for this. This is the type of course where if you go off too fast, you will pay for it on those hills. So yeah, in total, we did make a bit of a mistake going off too fast today, but you know, it's only a park run, and we learn not to do the same thing, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the actual half marathon. But today, it was a good bit of hill training, and definitely this will be the type of course at the park run which we probably will do quite often, so this probably won't be the last time you see me do the Christchurch park run in this series. But yeah, 19:17, there is definitely a faster time which I can go for there, and I definitely can get quite a few seconds off that time and probably get into the 18 minutes at the Christchurch park run. But we will definitely be back to do the Christchurch park run again very soon. But one thing to tell you is that next Saturday we will not be doing a park run in Suffolk because I will be on holiday. So we will be doing a tourist park run next Saturday. I'm not entirely sure what that will be, but you have to stay tuned because next Saturday we will be doing a tourist park run. Alright, today is Sunday, which is the final day of this week, and one thing which I've always known since I've started running is that Sunday is long run day. So over the past few months on a Sunday, I have been building up the mileage, and recently I've been averaging about 17 to 18 kilometers on the Sunday long runs. Long runs is the most important part of the half marathon training. If we don't do the long runs, there's no way I'm going to be running the half marathon come September. I think that's important not just for experienced runners, but for also new runners too, to know how far they can run on a long run. So I've been doing on average about 17 to 18 kilometers. So from here, it's about building the mileage and then going and increasing the mileage to the 19s to the 20s and then eventually to the half marathon distance. So today for me, I will be increasing the mileage and I will be doing a 19-kilometer long run, and also because I've looked at the half marathon course, I will be incorporating some hills into this run. So in total, I plan on doing 19 kilometers with over 100 meters of elevation. Those clouds are looking very grey, so we may have some rain joining us for today's run. There we go. 19 kilometers completed, and well, I expected the hills, but the wind as well. Oh dear, that's not a good combo. But overall, the conditions, they weren't ideal, but we got that done. And it was, in the end, quite a steady effort. We didn't go too hard. It was about getting the distance done, and we did exactly that. So, with that being the longest distance run I've done during my half marathon training, I am super happy with that. I mean, we do need to be ready for days like that because we know it will be hilly in the half marathon, but it could be a windy day too. So we need to be mentally prepared for the circumstances where it could be a day like that. So overall, I feel like I dealt with that pretty well. So yes, I'm pretty happy with that run. So the shoe choice for today's run was the Vomero 18, which is a very good shoe. It's nice and cushioned and it's got a good bit of Zoom X foam. The stack height on this shoe is crazy. So yes, for long runs, this is a great option to have. So with that long run out of the way, that is it for this week's of the half marathon training. Overall, summarising this week, I'm pretty happy with how the week has gone. We had a midweek 10k and we got a PB, so naturally you've got to be pleased with that. The one thing which I've identified as my weakness from this week's training is the hills, because Christchurch Park Run on Saturday at a hard effort, we were going superbly, flying through the course, and then we got to the hills, and then I absolutely died. Today, it wasn't too bad. You know, when we got to those hills, we did struggle, and it was quite hard going off afterwards. Like, the pace did drop slightly, but overall, the hills, that is the weakness, because we were doing well before we got into the hills, especially at the park run. Then we get to the hills, and then we die, and then especially afterwards, keeping the momentum going, keeping the pace. So yes, that is a good thing to be able to identify this weakness early on in the training schedule. So yeah, because of that, we will definitely be doing a lot of hill training in the upcoming videos. So if you're excited to see that and more half marathon training, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.